like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Always like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Feeling like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Feeling like.
Yo, it is your boy Savage D Sag back up in this bitch. What is good, and man, I'm excited to talk to you. It's been a minute and I hope you have all been well. But I have to address the elephant in the room and I'm gonna keep it short, but Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, has passed away. At the time of this recording, we had just found out about this like late last night, which was March 7th where I am, but he's been deceased since March 1st, 2024. I just want to say, you know, Akira, he's like literally the reason that I got into anime, got into manga, and I know it's, you know, that's the case for so many people around the world, and he's literally the reason why, like, I draw, you know, I have the art style that I have, things of that nature. So I just had to dedicate a moment of this video just to say rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. You know, his life will live on not only through Dragon Ball, but his family and all the other works he, you know, that he's created. And yeah, you know, just had to say that real quick. Rest in peace. He's forever a GOAT. But I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, so you already know what time it is. We are back with this Chainsaw Man greatness, nigga. And for this video, we're gonna do something a little different. I'm going to give a massive review of the chapters following 149, which is where I left off reviewing, and I'll just keep trucking through them and only point out highlights that stood out to me when relevant until I get up to the latest chapter, which is 157, where I'll give my full, typical end of video thoughts. So let's start with chapter 150, where we pick back up from Denji and Nayata leaving the mob of people that want Chainsaw Man dead after the chainsaw outbreak. Nayata comments on how it seems like it's a normal day despite all the chaos due to people going to work still. She adds that she may also still have to go to school the next day. Oh hell nah. But this causes Denji to start thinking to himself and Pochita about how he has to get back to his ordinary life and basically bullshitting himself about how happy he is since he is living the life he has always dreamed of, saying that he doesn't have to be Chainsaw Man anymore, which we all know is cap. After stepping on a crow ominously, which, by the way, is another similarity to Asa, who steps on birds or bird-like creatures constantly, it seems. Denji is talking to Pochita once again though, and Pochita asks Denji what will he dream of next since their previous dream came true. After listing out options for Denji, such as a girlfriend or a car, Denji replies that what he wanted next is to be Chainsaw Man, which snaps him out of this internal conversation and back to the real world where his and Nayata's apartment is on fucking fire. After realizing that their pets are still inside, Denji tried to run toward the apartment but is tripped by Berum, who reveals that he is behind the arson, since he didn't think killing Asa would rile Denji up enough. That evil son of a bitch. Berum is shot up though by a reappearing Fumiko and some Devil Hunter agents, and then the Whip Devil appears to take them out, and then the chapter ends. This chapter was just some more Berum unhingedness, to be honest. I'm not even a pet person, but god damn is that man cruel. Anyways though, in chapter 151, Fumiko realizes that the Whip Devil took out her comrades and is shook because the hybrids should have been apprehended after Quan Chi the motherfucking goat took their asses out. Mary tries to tell Denji that he burned down his home in an attempt to save the world since everything that the church does is to stop the infamous Nostradamus prophecy. He then tells Denji to unleash his anger. Nayata pierces an injured Berum with one of her control chains, trying to get him to smoke himself, but Berum shrugs off her commands and walks over to her. He goes on a very interesting rant that actually caught my eye when I initially read this chapter, and even again while I'm rereading for this video. Berum mentions that Nayata's ability won't work on him, and presumably the other hybrids, because his body is still under Makuma's rule, or maybe because his heart still belongs to her from when she controlled the human weapons towards the end of part 1. Berum adds that had Nayata's predecessor still been there, she could defeat the Death Devil while having Chainsaw Man under her control. He fondly says that Denji ruined the promise of a peaceful world when he got comfortable with the life that public safety has been allowing him to live, so the flames are his punishment. Nayata controls one of the downed agents from earlier in the chapter and makes him shoot Berum again. I ain't gonna lie, he needed that goddamn shot. But Denji turns into Chainsaw Man after Nayata calls out to him and runs over, with a transformed Denji laughing profusely, ending the chapter. So chapter 151 was notable because it was our first time seeing Denji transformed in months, and I knew that I was gonna be right a few months ago when I predicted that cruel ass Fujimoto was gonna make us wait until 2024 to see Denji transform again. Another thing of note that I've been noticing on Twitter is that this chapter contains what people think is a slight change of portrayal for Pochita. I'll likely speak more on this when we get to chapter 156, but I had to to at least bring it up because those images of Kid Denji and Pochita waving at each other while Pochita appears to be crossing the street towards the burning house is wild. But with that, we get to chapter 152, where we get a full-blown Fujimoto classic, with Chainsaw Man basically going berserk. A few civilians peep Chainsaw Man and call others to come see, assuming that this is another wannabe. Murray and the Spear hybrid both transform as Nayuta attempts to escape with Denji, but Denji does not give a single fuck, telling her to get out of his way. He acknowledges to Pochita that he is the worst because although he lost his pets and home, he is still hype since he finally gets to be Chainsaw Man again, turning his attention to the hybrids. Poor hybrids. The whip and sword hybrids attempt to jump Chainsaw Man, but Denji easily takes care of them before the spear hybrid sneaks on him like a hoe, stabbing him from behind. The spear hybrid does something that you should never do and tries to rile up Denji, saying that he isn't giving them a real scare. This causes Denji to go full savage and he chops both himself and the spear hybrid that still had his spear piercing Chainsaw Man, by the way. The growing crowd, Nayuta and hybrids are all shook, and Denji drinks the blood of the bisected spear hybrid, attempting to heal. Wait, I just had PTSD. I said bisected and it reminded me of someone in JJK. Whew, you know what, actually, I'm gonna just leave it at that. No, let me shut up. But anyways, Chainsaw Man begins healing as he also takes out the Whip Devil that was trying to save the Spear hybrid. She then calls Mirai to come help, but the Sword Devil is just fodder to a feral Denji who pierces the Sword hybrid, completing his beatdown of the hybrids. With his chainsaws deep in Mirai,
Pause.
Denji goes on one of his adrenaline-filled rants about massages with a confused Nayuta that is the voice of the audience, asking Denji, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Denji rejects Nayuta's insistence on them leaving the scene and even tells her again that maybe she shouldn't be around him anymore since he is hurting just right and it feels good. Clearly tweaking. Okay, so besides Denji's disrespect to Nayuta and Denji clearly being hella OP, there's not too much to say except this man Denji was unhinged and unleashed this chapter. Like, he was acting like a man that is touching his first pom-pom in 10 years. Like, this shit is wild. But with that, on to chapter 153 with the aftermath of Chainsaw Man's victory over the hybrids and Nayuta being hurt by Denji's words. The crowd that was watching Chainsaw Man in curiosity are now crowding him with spears as he is keeled over. As a man announces that everyone should evacuate due to a chainsaw head outbreak, the crowd continues to use their black Air Force energy to whoop Chainsaw Man's ass. Useless Fumiko comes back and tries to tell the crowd that this specific Chainsaw Man is actually good, but they don't give a fuck, citing the fact that they witnessed Denji eating the other devils, which is low-key hilarious because imagine witnessing this cannibalism, then moments later you hear someone trying to convince you that this devil with a chainsaw head is a good guy after he just had 2 devils for lunch and dinner, like. But anyways, as the mob continue to attack and stomp Denji out, even attempting to light him on fire, Nayuta steps in to defend her brother too, telling the mob that he is the real Chainsaw Man. They still don't give a fuck and swipe away at the little girl hurting her, which causes us to see that Denji still does care for her despite his last few statements because he calls out to her and even attacks members of the mob in response. This makes the predicament worse though because they want to kill Chainsaw Man for attacking humans. I ain't gonna lie, this whole situation is some bullshit. But anyways, as feral Denji makes a return to take on the mob, Nayuta is being taken away by a woman who tells her that it is too dangerous for her to be there. Nayuta objects, saying that Chainsaw Man is her family as he continues to get stabbed. Nayuta has a flashback in her head of when Denji told her how much he loves her in comparison to Asa before using her powers to control the woman that grabbed her, causing that woman to hit another one in the mob of Chainsaw Man attackers and tells Chainsaw Man to run, ending this chapter. My main thing of note with this chapter is how both Nayuta and Denji basically reaffirm their love for each other. Despite feral Denji telling her to get away and Nayuta being hurt by these words, they basically still show each other how much they love each other without having to directly speak, so that's pretty cute. But anyways, that takes us on to Chainsaw Man chapter 154. And just to switch this up, in case you're listening to my rambling and getting bored, I'm just gonna say ejaculation. Okay, so now that I have your attention, Chapter 154 begins with Nayata controlling a few people in the mob to attack the others. From here, we learn more about the limit of Nayata's power. She asks Fumiko to help her take out some of the angry mob since she can only send out 3 chains at once, which is cool because I remember in part 1 how Makima was just giving out chains to people like she was a part of the Rockefeller label back in the day. Like, you get a chain, nigga, you get a chain. So it's cool to know what Nayata's current capabilities are. But anyways, Fumiko lives up to her uselessness by calling the situation hopeless and runs away, saying that although she's a fan of Chainsaw Man, she's a public servant first and foremost, since risking her life to save him is outside of the scope of her job. Like, no cap, she sound like me at my last job. That shit ain't within the scope of my capabilities. Find someone else to do it. That's above my pay grade. Like, whew, damn, you know what? Let me move on because that was some more PTSD that came out. But anyways, as Fumiko continues to tell Nayata to do her best to protect Denji, Nayata pleads for help again, saying that their family just died, but this bitch Fumiko says that they weren't family. They were only just pets. Like, sheesh, goddamn. Nayata is left to fend for herself though, as the confused mob of civilians comes to the conclusion that they are being attacked due to the power of a devil and want to figure out where is the source. But then Barum's bitch ass appears out of nowhere, snitching on Nayata, but the mob can't believe that she is the source of the attacks because she is just a kid. The woman that grabbed Nayata in the last chapter and also was under Nayata's control comes to her senses and tells the mob that Nayata called Chainsaw Man her family. While the crowd all discuss this possibility, Nayata says fuck all that and controls one of the onlookers to grab the injured Denji and take him away. At this point, all the injured Denji can mutter weakly is Nayata's name, as Nayata uses the control man to whisper to Denji that he needed her after all. So cute. This next section is actually one of my favorite parts of the chapter though, where Nayata has an internal monologue. Essentially, we learn that although Nayata speaks on wanting to kill humans, you know, fairly consistently, she genuinely doesn't like combat the way that Denji does, preferring video games, concluding that she could never be Chainsaw Man. Ironically, humanizing this horseman even more. As the mob continues though to try to jump the little girl, Barum pulls out a gun on her and the chapter ends. Son of a bitch. So, I already stated my main thoughts on this chapter in the middle of the overview, so I ain't gonna say much more besides I can't wait to see if Nayata has some, you know, type of small training arc in order to gain some more control over her power or something. And lastly, just to say, fuck Fumiko and Barum. Okay, so on to chapter 155. One of the bystanders attempt to reel the mob in, once again emphasizing that they are talking about killing a kid, and how everything has been chaotic after only one day. Barum then says that it is too bad that the gun he held at Nayata is out of bullets before he points it at himself, acting as if Nayata is controlling him and pleads for his help, saying that he doesn't want to die. The mob then run towards Nayata with spears as we then transition to happier times before Denji and Nayata's apartment blows up. Yes, that's right, we are entering flashback territory. And in the flashback, we basically see the early stages of Denji and Nayata's relationship, him welcoming her into his home, and her internal monologue of not understanding emotions and why she feels anything towards Denji. She uses a chain to get the knowledge of her previous life from a sleeping Denji, and Denji's identity as Chainsaw Man, his dreams, etc, etc. She then states that she'll fill Denji up with happiness and then destroy it, hoping to find more about who she is if she grants her predecessor's wish. We then get a montage in the flashback showing their mutual love for pets as Denji reaffirms the still feisty Nayata that she is his family before bed when she asks who she is. Denji's kid form though once again seems to be talking to Denji himself, telling him that although he was always drawn to the word family, he never had one, and that he threw that away when he decided to be Chainsaw Man, adding that there's no way Denji could have a family since he killed his own dad. Damn. The flashback ends here, and we see Denji wake up in a motherfucking hospital. Hell nah. Alright, so this chapter was packed with a ton of shit to be honest, but we're jumping straight into 156 because somehow the shit gets even more nuts, so anyways, in chapter 156, we continue off in the hospital that Denji is now in, clearly seeing that the chaos is likely still a thing since we see a building that appears to be on fire in the background and a helicopter whirling nearby too. Denji wakes up and his first words are Nayata, But the first person he sees is Yoshida. His first appearance, I think, since taking that semi-L to Asa and Yoru. Yoshida informs Denji that he slept like a log, but Denji doesn't care about anything besides Nayata, constantly asking what happened to her. Yoshida tells Denji that he doesn't know either and begins to say something else before Denji cuts him off and asks again, where is she? You know, I know it's within his character, and to be honest, since he is frantic, it makes sense why Denji would cut him off, but out of selfishness, I wish he didn't, because what the hell happened to Nayata? The fuck? Like, what was he gonna say? We must protect her at all costs, Fujimoto. But anyways, Denji tried to get up out of anger while asking about his sis, but falls, and Yoshida informs him that he has been asleep for a week, so he won't be able to walk right away. While Denji spazzes, Yoshida once again shows his sus ways and tells Denji that he broke the rules by turning into Chainsaw Man, which takes away the guarantee of a normal life for him, finally saying that there is nothing he could do to help him anymore. Denji then passes out, and Sashida walks out of the room to Fumiko and other public safety agents with a needle in his hand, stating that he put Denji back under. Fumiko's ass then asks if they are really gonna dismember Denji, to which Sashida simply says yes. Fumiko's bitch ass says that she is gonna pluck out some hair or nails of Denji's before his body becomes a property of the state, adding that although she is a fan of Chainsaw Man, she's also a collector. Bruh, fuck this bitch, bruh, respectfully. Anyways, this is where the other potentially dark portrayal of Pochita comes in, with one of those internal dark conversations similar to the one Kid Denji had with Denji in the last chapter about family. In this realm, I guess, for lack of better words, Denji tells Pochita that he has to get up because he has to go save Nayata, but Pochita simply trolls Denji asking, how are you gonna save Nayata without your legs? Then we get a disgustingly disrespectful shot of doctors cutting off Denji's limbs while he is unconscious. Had my man out here looking like Anakin after he took the L to Obi-Wan. Oh, Darth Vader head ass boy. Anyways, as a doctor chastises the public safety agent that is watching just in case Chainsaw Man tries to flee for smoking, the agent says, fuck all that. And the doctor equally doesn't care for the agent's response, mentioning that the facility they are in is the Tokyo Devil Detention Center, and that no devil has escaped it since its founding, adding that there are armed personnel around the clock and that the detention center is prepared for all ops, saying that it would take a war to compromise the facility before the chapter ends. Alright, so there is a lot to say about this chapter, but I'm gonna try to be short. 1, damn, I'm really pissed at Sashida and Fumiko. At this point, I'm just ready to see what the hell public safety wants or expects from Denji. Like, damn, this nigga can't do anything. 2, Pochita is fucking freaking me out right now because the waving at Denji before he transforms to now trolling him with the comment of his legs missing, like, I saw people on Twitter theorizing that maybe Pochita is mad that Denji hasn't turned into Chainsaw Man, or mad that he continues to compromise his idea for Dream Life, but bruh, all I know is that Fujimoto better fix this shit. I don't need no rogue Pochita, bruh. That was always Denji's first and only companion, so if he loses even that, I'm rioting. I don't give a single fuck. 3rd and finally, obviously I'm recording this after 157 came out, so I know who is coming to save Denji, allegedly. But it was funny seeing so many people cope and think that Reese was coming in real time, like literally down to screenshotting the sneakers at the end of this chapter and trying to match it up with Reese. Like, nigga, the chapter literally refers to War, aka the War Devil, aka Yoru. Duh. Plus the shoes didn't even match up with Reeves. Like, she had circles and shit on them. Like, you know what? People are just funny. But anyways, we are finally on to the main event, chapter 157. And this chapter starts off with Asa and Fami outside of the Tokyo Devil Detention Center. Now, I assumed it was Asa that was gonna try to save Denji, so I was right about that. But the surprise for me was that Fami was with her, especially since we hadn't seen her in a while. Fuji still has a talent of giving us surprises. Also, Asa looks badass with her sleeve just flopping around. Reminds me of like Deidara or Itachi from Naruto or some shit. Fujimoto needs to give her her arm back though. The fuck? How a whole week pass from her fight with Sashida and she's still missing that shit? Like, the shit don't add up. Make it make sense, Fujimoto. Anyways, Fami asks Asa about the arm, but Asa downplays it, asking why they aren't wearing disguises. Fami says that their school uniforms are their least suspicious outfit since, for some reason, this detention center hosts little girls? Like, oh hell no, that's sus as fuck. But Asa asks for the plan, and Fami breaks down Chainsaw Man's underground location and tells Asa that her job will be to destroy the entrance so that they can enter before the facility opens fire on them. I also want to note a funny interaction where Yoru had taken over Asa's body, calling Fami by the name Famine, to where Fami ignores her until she calls her Fami instead, so that was funny. Anyways, Asa asks if beating Chainsaw Man will actually save him like Fami had promised many chapters ago while recruiting Asa to the church. Fami simply states that that is right, and Asa says that it is her turn to save Chainsaw Man since he saved her time and time again, like with the falling devil, situation for example. As the girls walk up towards the facility, two men are watching the surveillance screen in the control room and say that the girls just look like high school girls and not devils, but fuck it, shoot them anyway, which this is another funny moment because damn, imagine this wasn't the host of the War or Famine Devils, like they would be smoked. But anyways, as the guns appear from below though, the men notice that they aren't firing and even their appearance had changed. Fami explains how Asa used her accumulated funds to basically perceive that she purchased the weapon system of the facility due to a contract that the Famine Devil drew up, which, hey, no cap, that's kind of fire. I always love hearing about this ability, like how Asa collected money with Denji to gain fake ownership of the aquarium and turn it into a spear to fight the Attorney Devil. Like, that shit is fire. But anyways, Asa fires what she calls college fund turrets at the facility, opening a hole, and Yoru roasts Asa's naiveness at thinking she had enough money to buy the weapons, while Fami observes for herself just how powerful Asa has indeed become as an outcome of her stirring up this chaos, noting that Asa once again is making weapons without physically touching them. The speakers in this facility alert all the armed forces that two devils that look like high school girls broke into the facility, making sure that the forces are on standby if they have combat training. One of the men that is watching on the surveillance screen notices Asa as a member of the Chainsaw Man Church and reveals to us in a panic that the leaders of the Chainsaw Man Church is being held underground in the facility as well, wondering if she is trying to break them out. Fami says that as they move further into the facility, Asa won't be able to use those weapons too, and that she will have to engage directly, but Asa says fuck all that because she only has one arm, so Fami should fight them. But Fami says fuck all that back because she is the trump card apparently, so trump card should be saved for last. As they stop, waiting for some of the armed forces to pass by, Asa's ass trips at the worst time per usual, which draws attention, and Fami pulls out some type of devil or something to fight against the forces as the chapter ends. Alright, bruh. So, Asa's increase in power is fire, but I also don't like Fami being there to witness because we know she has underlying motives. Like, the way she was looking at Asa controlling the turrets is how a nigga with high cholesterol be looking at a free 6-piece combo from a chicken joint. Plus, she has to be here to save her fellow Chainsaw Man church members, right? Ain't no way she just helping Asa for Denji's sake. Like, nah, bro, I don't believe in it. But I will say too, though, that I'm excited to see more of how Fami's power work. The Horseman's powers being showcased in this series is always a dope sight, so getting to see more of that besides her reviving Yuko or making Yoru disappear will always be interesting. Man, if you can't tell, these stretch of chapters have been having me hype. Even if I hadn't made YouTube videos about them, you better believe that I've been keeping up this whole time. And I definitely want to say that Fujimoto has found a groove where he has balanced the POVs of both Asa and Denji perfectly well for a little bit now. He doesn't let either one of them take too much screen time without involving the other at some point soon, which was a gripe for me during some stretches in part 1 a bit. We are in an awesome place in the story where every chapter has its own bit of intrigue and hype where you're yearning for the next chapter damn near impatiently. I can't lie, sometimes while only reading week to week, especially with breaks in between, you can lose some appreciation for the storytelling that is going on in slow moments, but man, rereading these last few chapters in bulk for this video was a lovely experience, and I encourage you to do the same if you haven't either done a full reread of part 2 or even just a couple of your favorite sections of part 2 because our GOAT is cooking. But alright, that was a lot of motherfucking talking. I've said everything I had to say, so if you have something to say, drop a comment. Y'all know I read those. Like the video, sub, show some love to your boy. It's your boy Savage D Sag, and I'm out. Peace.